Welcome to CyberCEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. CyberCEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. All right, another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. I'm back with another episode of CyberCEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show right now. Jessica, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Great to be here.
Of course, we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being on the show today. Now, for the benefit of everyone who's watching and listening, of course, can you tell us something about yourself, Jessica?
Sure. I've been in the real estate industry for just over 25 years and in leadership for most of it. So for about 20 years in leadership.
Wow, 25 years in the real estate industry alone. Is that right?
Yeah. And in that, we've opened multiple market centers and have launched many careers. I've recruited about 2,000 agents over the span. So it's been awesome.
So imagine you must be very, let's say, experienced already, and you already are an expert in the field of recruiting then, am I right?
Yeah, I love what we're doing with the company. So it's fun to do it.
Of course. It's very important to enjoy what you're doing, right? Again, you don't really have to work a day if you love what you do, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I know for a fact that you have cyberbackers supporting you in your business right now, correct?
Yes, I have actually had different variations of virtual assistants, ISAs, from basically, I think the earliest days I started was 2009 or 2010. So I've been working with that kind of leverage in my life for 11, 12 years.
So a long time and a lot of experience working with virtual assistants. Now, let me ask you, is there a big difference between a virtual assistant and a cyberbacker?
Absolutely. I would love to emphasize that I've had good success with many companies out there, and yet I'm having exponential success because there's more to cyberbackers than most of the companies that you can work with. And the few things that really come to mind is that it's really a family. And I know that may sound funny or silly, but it really is. You know, if one of my cyberbackers, be it one of my ISAs or my super special Sheila, who's my admin, have questions, they can go back to their cyberbacker family, their coaches, and really come to me with a solution. So that is night and day. They also have a culture of sharing wins and successes, masterminding and teaching each other. And it really is powerful.
So our cyberbackers aren't just here to, of course, back up their clients, but also to back each other up. That's the culture that we have here, especially relationship, one of the core values of cyberbacker. So we've been talking about your cyberbackers now. What can you tell me about them? Personality-wise, the way they work, working together as a team, things like that.
Well, I've had great cyberbackers, and I coach a lot of people that work with great cyberbackers. So I have so many cyberbackers I absolutely love. And typically, depending on their role, that kind of dictates their personality, just like us. I'm a salesperson, so I'm a very outgoing person, whereas I'm not detailed, but thank God Sheila is my admin that basically does more of the tasks behind me. She coordinates my calendar. And in a coaching day, I may have 18 clients in one day. Right. So you can imagine what my calendar looks like if someone needs to move or shuffle. She does all that behind the scenes. So she's not as flamboyant or outgoing as Zeke, one of my ISAs might be, but she is like my rock, and she has got me at my back, and she does my accounting and invoicing and all these things that are detailed that I really am not great at, nor do I enjoy doing. And she does it with charisma in her own way, and such thoroughness. And I just have such a good sense of being taken care of by her. Whereas like my ISAs, they have a lot of fun personalities, a lot of great energy. And what I love about cyberbackers specifically is they don't pigeonhole talent to be one or the other. They let people evolve to who they are. And all the ISAs I've worked with had the ability to do the role because they've had experience in being on the phones and interacting with people. But again, I think that culture and vibe just grows them quickly to be superstars. So it's fun. Different
Yes,
personalities though.
yes, different personalities for each role. Again, values would really need to fit, especially for the things that they're gonna do, the tasks that they're gonna do. Now,
Right. And I think that's why there's longevity with the cyberbackers, because one of the things I'll say was quite different with several large companies that I've worked with is I felt like I got a an ISA or a VA going.
mhm,
And then like 3 months later, they were burnt out and they were quitting. Well, it's because they weren't in the right role.
yes.
And I, you know, that's a lot of stress to have that turnover. So I love that. I know Sheila and I could work together for years, and Zeke and I, even though I've stepped out of the team leader role, he's still working with my office there. He's been in the role maybe 3 or 4 years already, you know, so that's night and day.
So imagine 3 or 4 years with Zeke being someone who's scheduling appointments, things like that. How about Sheila? Forgot to ask, how long have you been working with her?
So we started together just about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and she's put me in alignment. Like, so she put my business in my business. She put my branding across the board. I had a list of, and I've launched 2 businesses with her already. So you can imagine how much we've accomplished together in such a short time. And she gave me like an extreme makeover with my branding, my social media, everything, because I went from working in one role to another. So that probably would have taken me a year to do. I mean, seriously, or I just never would have completely got it done. And I think she got that all done in the first week or 2 we were working together. So again, we're new to each other, but I can't imagine not having her anymore.
Imagine she set up everything in just a week or 2, and that's going to be a year for you, or the things that you might not be able to do. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually asked her if she could make, you know, templates in Command for emails. And, you know, I give her 1 or 2 ideas of what I wish, or I show her a Pinterest board of someone else or something someone else does. And the next day when we get together, she's got something already for me to look at. And it always blows my mind. So I'm so grateful to have her in my life.
All right, that's good to know. Now, my next question is, of course, this is what we call a virtual relationship, right? Our clients and our cyberbackers. Now, what makes this virtual relationship work? What makes it a successful partnership, Jessica?
Well, you know, the thing is, I think one of the misunderstandings about a virtual relationship is that you don't spend much time together. And the truth is, if I hired an assistant that worked in the office with me, I would talk to them every day. And I think the challenge some people have when they go virtual is they don't stay connected like they would with the role of someone that was sitting next to you. So Sheila and I have priority time together every day. It's not a lot of time. We spend about 30 minutes together every day, and then as needed. However, if I only met with her once a week, you know, that's not a very good relationship. So I always remind people that if they're going to work with someone, treat it as if they were working in the office together. You'd still check in with your ISA every day. You'd still have some sort of conversation. And I think that's really important because I feel that Sheila and Zeke are part of my family. They're part of my team. They're not just somebody out there in the virtual world that just float around and do things. No, they're part of our success. And so when we plan and strategize, I bring them into those meetings so they see the big picture and they're part of the team. So even though Sheila's in the Philippines, when we Zoom together, it's like we're sitting across the conference table and planning and strategizing together every day.
So communication is very, very important to make this successful. Then thank God for Zoom, right? Just like you and me right now. Imagine who would have ever thought we'd be able to talk to someone miles, I mean, thousands of miles away. Don't you agree?
Right, right. Absolutely.
Now, my next question is, how much additional revenue have your cyberbackers made you? Or let's say, how much time have they saved you?
So I'll talk about ISA first. So ISA to me is critical for my success as a team leader because I am not naturally gifted with the gift of cold calling. I was a team leader for 17 years, and that was a struggle of mine. So I chose to early on in my career offset what I wasn't good at by hiring somebody that was. So that's why I've actually worked with a virtual person since 2009, 2010, because that was a gap that I personally had in my opportunity. And truth be told is by finding someone, and I didn't always have success with that because I did go through quite a few different companies, I hired someone local, I tried everything. And there were a lot of fails. but there were a lot of wins as well. And so as a team leader, I became a top team leader when I filled that gap. So there's really no value to put on that because it's everything to me to be known as a very successful team leader. And yet if I would have never filled that gap, I probably would have never gotten here. So there's no price point to put on that. That's just everything to me. Second is, I can tell you the last month I was in my team leader role, we hired 25 people.
Wow.
And this was my last month in the role. I was transitioning to another, so I was probably quite distracted. We hired 25 people, and yet every one of those appointments were set by our VA or ISA.
Wow.
Right. Now, is that normal? No, but because I was stepping out of the role and there was someone stepping in the role, there's just like anything, a lack of focus. And we had an epic month. And if it wouldn't have been for that, we wouldn't have. So there's really no number to put on it with that, besides the fact that it's everything for me. And for Sheila, actually, she found more mistakes I was making in my accounting. I think she's paid for herself for the year already, with things I forgot to do, or bills I forgot to, invoices I forgot to send out for things that I did. So she's also priceless. I would say though, what's cool is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I coach, and I'm in a dollar productive mode from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And I have that whole time with clients or new clients that I'm talking to, or trainings. And I don't do anything but dollar productive activities for those 3 days. And that is priceless. So that would be like for an agent, them only going on listing presentations and doing nothing more. And to me, that's everything, because that's what I'm good at. And that's what I get energized by doing. So after a 12-hour day, I'm energized. I'm not tired at all. And it's because I'm not doing any of those other things, because for every appointment I have, even though my coaching appointments are 30 minutes long, there's still 15 or 20 minutes of work of putting your notes and all that. Sheila does all that for me.
So imagine just going through the day without thinking about the other things that you have to do, just thinking about building that relation, focusing on the task at hand. Is that right?
Yeah, and actually getting to do what you love and you're good at all day.
Yes.
So it's like, it's fun. And like you said in the beginning, if you do what you love, it's never a day of work.
Yes, definitely. Now, you already talked about a few of the things that your cyberbackers are currently doing for you and your business. But what we'd like to know more of is, what are some of the things that you're thinking about or considering to have them do in the future for your business, of course?
I'm thinking about building a real estate team right now where everything is done for the agent. Everything, even the calling of their database, if that's something that they're reluctant to do. And having such services that are at such a stellar level that the agents that we're partnered with never want to leave, because all those things that might not be their favorite things to do could be taken off their shoulders, just like Sheila does for me every day. So that's one thing I'm thinking. I'm also thinking of the Office of the Future. And I think the Office of the Future has services for agents. And I feel like that's something that can be built out. I also feel like Offices of the Future will provide events and community activities, which a cyberbacker could do all the marketing for, coordinate, communicate, and the agents could invite community and their database too. So I see there's so much good change ahead in what real estate offices of the future look like. And I feel like cyberbackers are going to be key components of that, because we only can do so much in one day. And what we used to do traditionally kind of was maxed out. So now, if we do more, it's going to have to be done by somebody. And I feel like those are going to be great partners in the future.
Well, that's going to be very exciting. That's going to be a huge growth for you and your business, of course. Again, thinking about the future is something very, very important as well. Now, one more thing. What have been some of the challenges that you've had working with Cyberbacker, or let's say opportunities for growth?
Well, I haven't had too many bumps in the road with Cyberbacker. Previously with other companies would be the turnover. Turnover would be number one, because I wouldn't have someone that was long-term in the right role, and they would burn out and step out of the role, and then I'd be back at zero, and it was frustrating. I haven't had that happen at all with any of the roles I've hired since Cyberbacker, which is hard to believe. I would tell you though, as a coach that coaches others that work with Cyberbacker, learning how to work with someone as an assistant. It doesn't matter if they're physical or virtual. If you had never leveraged with someone, you've got to learn how to do that. And some people don't know how to do that. And so I'm going to challenge you, if this is something that you want to do either with a virtual ISA, a cyber recruiter or Cyberbacker or whoever you might partner with, there is not much difference from if you have someone physically with you or digitally with you. Still need to be able to hand off tasks, have clarity in the role of what they're doing. And then I would say another suggestion I have is always give them a project list, so that if you for some reason are unavailable all day to answer any questions and they're stuck on a project they're working on, they have other things to go do to feel valuable, because everybody wants to feel valuable. And if you don't communicate and connect with your partner, your support person, they're kind of stuck, and that doesn't feel good to anybody. And so I always give a list of things that would be really great to get done. If it's a bad weather day and there's a typhoon around the Philippines, or a typhoon or a hurricane around Florida, it's half the time it's my internet that's not giving me a hassle. And that would be one thing I would say. Internet is not bad. I haven't had a lot of problems with that. Sheila hasn't, Zeke hasn't. So that's one misnomer out there. You guys have great internet. There's typhoons and hurricanes everywhere every now and then, but it's been really pretty awesome. The thing is, it's up to you to get clarity on what you want and what help you're willing to give. And then the last thing I would say is, specifically with Cyberbackers, and this is something that's unique about your company, is there are different masterminds or things that the client and the Cyberbacker can jump into to get new ideas or fresh ideas too. So I think once a quarter, just like you would with your whole leadership team, I think you get together and reevaluate, like, what's our next projects? What do we want to conquer next? What's going well? What doesn't matter anymore? And really strategize so you can keep moving forward together and you just don't get on autopilot.
That is already a terrific advice, Jessica. I know that the business owners that are listening right now would be more, let's say, they would want to really hire the Cyberbacker, especially with the advice that you've already given. Now, one last thing before we end the interview, Jessica. I know that Zeke and Sheila, your Cyberbackers, are currently listening to us right now. Would you want to give them a quick shout out on the show right now?
I love you guys, and I miss actually working with Zeke every day. So I'm going to see if there's some way we can bump into each other and catch up. And Sheila, you know how much I appreciate you. Thank you for making my business what it is. And we launched 2 businesses together since April. It's now October. So not bad, huh?
Yes, really not bad. Imagine just a few months into the relationship, 2 businesses. Imagine that. Now, we are very excited, of course, to see where your partnership with Cyberbacker would be in the next few months and the years to come, Jessica. Thank you very much for being on the show today. Thank you for listening to our daily dose of Cyber CEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.